Hey troops, it's Roy from Geeks Adventures, looking a lot like a geeky version of Mr. Rogers. Wow, I didn't realize that until now. Anyway, so doing a really quick update. The last one I did was about the whole HBO Max thing, Wonder Woman 1984 being put to streaming, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And the big question of, whoa, so what happens now? And some folks have been kind of saying, wow, Netflix is doomed. Not so fast. Okay, let's preface all this also by saying that, in March, all we were talking about was Black Widow, Wonder Woman 1984, none of all of this madness. So things change real fast. Um, but in a yes, this looks like the beginning of a lot of dominoes falling for the Big Ten poll stuff. Just I mean, because right now, not every giant tentpole film like James Bond has a studio with a streaming service ready to just go boom, we'll put you out anyway and let the money fall where it is or doesn't fall, whichever the case may be. Um, but the running assumption that some of the things are going to get kind of weird for Netflix. Case in point, the reason this got all brought up is that Netflix dropped their first trailer for a movie, The Dig. And you're going, The Dig? And you're kind of doing a search right now. Okay, it stars Ralph Fiennes and Carey Mulligan. Set in World War II, Carey Mulligan owns a farm. They're working the farm, and all of a sudden they start finding stuff. They call in Ralph Fiennes, who works for a museum, and he's going, you did not just find stuff. Girl, y'all found stuff. And right now you're looking at the trailer going, well, how cute, how quaint. Okay. Now, the thing is, though, for as many of you that are going, yeah, whatever, there's a chunk of you like me who are going, ooh, this looks kind of cool. This is going to kind of meander a little bit, so just bear with me, okay? Remember Oscar time when Martin Scorsese and the question came up during an interview thing, junket, whatever, about Avengers Endgame, how he viewed films right now. Started to talk smack about big tentpole films. The fact that they're just basically they're just roller coaster rides, et cetera, et cetera. There's no emotional complexity, et cetera, et cetera. And I, myself included, went, dude, Marty, man, we love you, but really? I mean, worthy. Not just the scene with Captain America and then Mjolnir and going, yeah! The beautiful, sweet scene where Thor meets Frigga. And, that really kind of, heartbreaking and beautiful scene where, she reminds him, look, dude, life and being worthy is more complex than that, man. So, a lot of us kind of went, dude, really, Marty? Come on, man. Now, the flip side to that, though, is what this film is about and what I'm going to talk about when it comes to Netflix. It's easy to also go, nah, they're screwed. Okay, yes, they have things like Stranger Things and stuff like that will draw people in. There is no question. But I mean, the big example being given was of course Disney Plus. I mean, the entire MCU waiting to be unleashed. All right. Literally, another decade's worth of films ready to just come flooding the pipe. And it's easy to say, oh, Netflix, they're not going to have this content, yada yada yada. Well, here's the deal. Netflix started as the giant online, easier to use version of Blockbuster and destroyed Blockbuster. And then as things changed, this is even pre-COVID. All of a sudden, the realization that, all all right, we can't just keep on putting out DVDs, people. What are we gonna do? And then the streaming issue, of course, kicked in, and then the realization that I've got to find a reason for these people to stick around. And then all of a sudden, you remember that show House of Cards, where everyone kind of went, "Wow." Now, okay, fine. So basically, Netflix became a streaming version of HBO. But the point is, they found something, and actually, the big key thing, which I mentioned in my last episode, whatever you want to call these things. I'm old. I am not hip to the terminology. I am sorry. I'm lucky I know how to work my phone so I can record this stuff, all right? But anyway, God, good Lord, where was I? The point, though, is that all these preferences, all these things, in some ways, Netflix is kind of like the Facebook of streaming programming. They have tons of data. And you're like, so what's your point? That means they know what people want to watch. So unlike Facebook, which who knows what they're doing with all your data, they use it to create programming. Legit knowing what people want. Now, unfortunately, in some ways, you could also look at it as, well, marketing people in big movie studios do the same thing. Yeah, unfortunately, what it turns into is trope-filled, cliche-driven crap. Okay, it's not all crap, but you get the idea. The constant talk that all of us have of movie fans of, oh, great, another sequel. Oh, great, another reboot. That's because that's what marketing sees. What marketing sees in a reboot, a prequel, a requel, whatever it is free exposure. It's free marketability. It's free identification. Yeah, it's cheating and it's cheap and it's lazy. On the flip side, what Netflix is doing, they've got this giant algorithm with all this data that actually legit says, hey, people do want to watch this. I mean, let's be frank here. Who would have thought Tiger King? Really? People want to see a documentary about, really? Now look what happened. Another example, Queen's Gambit, that exploded. Now, granted, unfortunately, it's been overshadowed by 5 tons of other stuff. I watched it. I liked it a lot. But let's be frank here. It's not like there is no worry about a glut of chess films coming out. Unlike the 20 billion failed, miserable attempts at creating a superhero universe like Hasbro tried. Oh, that was dumb. Wow, crash and burn. Anyway, I'd say, yeah, you get the idea that all of a sudden, the advantage Netflix has is that they got an idea what people really want to see. And, okay, not everything is a guaranteed hit. There's still those moments where, you're just throwing spaghetti to the wall to see what sticks. But all these off-the-wall things are created because they have data that says, look, people want to watch this stuff. All right? And the thing is, the list goes on. I mean, Always Be My Maybe. Who would have thought? The rom-com that just exploded to life and made Keanu Reeves for, his 7 minutes of screen time even more of a legend than he already is. Oh, that was funny as heck. And all of this stuff. The old guard, as if we didn't think Charlize Theron wasn't a badass enough as it is. Cha-ching! It goes on and on. Chris Hemsworth, in his movie was Extraction. It goes on and on. All of these things that they created. Now, no, this does not have the automatic Uber identification that, Superman has or Spider-Man has. No. But they aren't struggling to find stuff to make either. So what does this all mean? Yeah, unfortunately, as the last 12 months has shown, we don't know jack. All right. on a frighteningly serious note, we're all hoping that, come, the new COVID vaccine comes out, yada yada yada, all this stuff smooths out, and it's gonna, things will be different, but it'll be okay. We're all kind of hoping this isn't turning into the real life episode of Walking Dead, right? That doesn't happen in real life, right? Unfortunately, there are moments when this does feel like a giant dystopian plague movie. Anyway, let's get back before we start to really freak out. Anyway, you get the idea. As much as there may be talk about, now what are they going to do? They're going to do what they're doing right now. Creating content based upon the data they have, creating content. Well, and actually, the more important thing I think to emphasize is creating content that isn't like everyone else's crap. The biggest criticism, and this is what I think studios are going to have to take in the face like a wrecking ball, is the fact that streaming services, cable TV, FX, not just cable services like HBO, Showtime, but FX, Epix, the Amazon Prime, Netflix. They're all taking advantage of the most important criticism against studios, against movie theaters, the fact that all they do is create the same crap. And The Dig is a perfect example of what studios don't do anymore. They do small stories. Small stories are important. Small stories that mean something. No, it doesn't have the same meaning as Portals, okay, as Worthy. But emotionally, and for a lot of people, it still has an impact. It has meaning. We've forgotten in the midst of all this, because of tentpole films, we've forgotten that this is about storytelling. And not every damn story needs to have a giant $20 bajillion special effects budget. Sometimes the most important films have nothing. They're all in black and white, and they still smash you in the face and give you all the emotional impact of a sledgehammer. And To Kill a Mockingbird, you will never improve on that story. Maltese Falcon, you will never improve on that story. And I think we've forgotten that, and that's what Martin Scorsese was trying to remind us, to bring this full circle so that this all makes sense. Is that, yes, the big budget tentpoles can be fun. There's a lot of glory in that. Blah, 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 blah. But look, think of it this way, okay? For every story of Endgame, for every Avengers film, the Netflix series that, The Defenders, all the Daredevil, Jessica Jones, those are tiny, small stories, but they were well done. Look at HBO, Lovecraft Country. That is not this giant, epic, cosmic, it's a small story, but the power it has is immense. And that is what Netflix, what HBO, all these other services are catching, and what is punching every movie theater, and more importantly, every studio in the face, is that all you ever worried about is making these multi-billion-dollar films because you wanted to rake it in and go, hey, see, we have a film that made $1 billion. Now you can't release them, and you're screaming and crying like a little child because, oh God, what are we gonna do with our investment? Good luck. That's what. Meanwhile, Netflix is going, now, could all this still explode in their face? Quite easily. Like I said, we don't know what's going to happen in 12 months. But this is a warning to studios. And yeah, people want to see the big stuff because it is fun and yada, yada, yada. But guys, this is about storytelling. And yes, actually for Netflix and all these other folks, they're tapping into an untapped market. So it is about money. Let's not kid ourselves either. This isn't about artsy-fartsy altruism and, we're doing it for the sake of the arts and blah, 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 blah. No, it's because they saw a revenue stream that the revenues basically took a dump on. It didn't care. And now they're paying the price for it. The good news is that no matter what happens, it's good for consumers because all these tentpoles, they are going to come out. It may take time, but they will, in a format that we want. and will pay for. Remember, Mulan, hey, we're going to give you the opportunity to get this online for an extra $30, and it punched him in the face. Same thing with all these other tentpole films. What are you going to do? Meanwhile, Netflix, we're going to tell stories. Some of them are going to be big and epic and some of them, like The Dig, aren't. And yet they're still going to have meaning. They're going to have power. They're going to draw people in. So there you go. What's going to happen? Time will tell. Unfortunately, this is a long Twilight Zone episode with Rod Serling in another dimension going, dang, folks. All right. We shall see. In the meantime, Netflix will continue to do the most important thing that any artist can do. Bear witness and tell a story. And tell a story that means something. Anyway, I'm going to go because it's a Monday night. It's a Sunday night. It's late. I'm tired. Anyway, hey, y'all take care. Have a good rest of the weekend. Yada, yada, yada. And always be good to each other, okay, peeps? Peace. Bye.